The Murdaugh Murders. The Murdaugh family murder scandal. So July 18, 2015, the body of Stephen Smith, 19, was found on Sandy Run Road in Hampton County, South Carolina. His death was ruled a hit and run, but his family had lingering questions. February 26, 2018, Gloria Satterfield, 57, who worked as a housekeeper and nanny for the Murdaugh family for about a quarter century, died about 2 weeks after she was reported to have fallen on the front stairs of the family's hunting property. Alex Murdaugh's younger son, Paul, who was 19, drunkenly crashed the family boat into a bridge. Witnesses says throwing several of his passengers into the water. The body of one passenger, Mallory Beach, 19, was found a week later. Miss Beach's parents would later sue Alex Murdaugh, bringing pressure on him to reveal details of his finances. September 14, 2021, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division said Mr. Murdaugh had admitted that he asked a former client, Curtis Edward Smith, to shoot and kill him on September 4th so that Mr. Murdaugh's surviving son, Richard, who is known as Buster, could collect a $10 million insurance payment. July 14, 2022, Mr. Murdaugh was indicted on 2 counts of murder. Prosecutors said he fatally shot his wife with a rifle and his son with a shotgun. March 2nd, 2023, Mr. Murdaugh was found guilty of murdering his wife and son. The Murdaugh family abuse of privileges. The Murdaugh family owned the biggest law firm in Hampton County, South Carolina. And a lot of the people say that they were above the law. So the family law firm, Paul's great-grandfather took over the firm. The firm then was passed down to Murdaugh Murders III. Rudolph served as solicitor/lead prosecutor. They were the law and order in South Carolina. The Murdaugh family leadership. The Murdaugh family was in charge of both sides of the legal ledger. The family had a network of police, judges, and legislature. So you can just imagine how powerful this family was. Now here's a picture of Mallory and Connor walking to the boat before Paul drives away in the boat. So Paul was clearly drunk. He wanted to use his boat and drive on the river. He was very stubborn and refused to let Connor drive and crashed the boat on a bridge and killed Mallory Beach by crashing the boat on a rock, throwing Mallory Beach over into the river. Now, Paul Murdaugh was operating his boat while intoxicated. It seems there was a lot of current in the river. So Alex Murdaugh came and took over this whole scene. He wanted everyone's lips sealed. Paul arrived at the hospital drunk. The family is believed to have used their privilege to suppress what happened to Mallory. Search for Mallory Beach. Mallory was hit by blunt force. After the crash under the bridge, she fell over the boat and got caught in the lake's current. Her and Connor were in the same place, but she got caught by the current. Mallory's body was found a week later by boaters. So Mallory was missing. Paul was in his underwear. So while everyone was trying to find Mallory, Paul was asking for a phone so he could call his grandfather, because his grandfather usually gets him out of trouble when he gets into trouble. So Mallory's parents were not called. I think Connor parents were asking, was Mallory parents called? They never called Mallory's parents at all. Never did. So, Miss Gloria Satterfield murder. A worker at Alex Murdaugh's house said he saw Miss Satterfield walk in the house. 15 minutes later, she was dead. Alex called 911 after he got there. Witnesses say he was never there. The body was not given an autopsy or taken to the hospital. Alex used Gloria to sue his own firm, and he got $4 million settlement and never gave the money to the family. So, Gloria Satterfield's sons um, were hearing news all around town about some settlement dealing with her, and Alex had got the money. He claimed it was in a bank account, but he never gave it to the sons of Mrs. Satterfield. He said that he was going to sue his firm to give to her because she was killed on his property by his dogs, because that's what he said. But the witness, the gardener, said that Alex Murdaugh was never there. He was not a witness, but he gave them a narrative that fit his issue. Stephen Smith's murder connected to the Murdaugh family. Buster and Stephen were study buddies as well. They were intimate at one time, but that was a secret that the Murdaugh family kept secret. Stephen called Buster after running out of gas. Stephen was found unconscious in the middle of the road. Friends of Stephen say that the family looked down on Buster being gay, and that would be looked down upon by the Murdaugh family, and they would never approve of Buster and Stephen's secret relationship. Alex's suicide attempt. Alex called his drug dealer to come help assist him with a tire, but he told his dealer to shoot him in the head. Alex was shot in the head. He called 911 and tried to lie. He later confessed it was an attempted suicide or assisted suicide. So, a lot of the people in the small town were saying that there were rumors that Maggie was hiring a forensic financial attorney to look at, the business records, and she was also hiring a divorce attorney. Um, and then the day of this situation, Alex Murdaugh killed his wife and young son after he was asked by Paul to come talk. Alex calls 911 and reports that he found his family shot out by the dog kennels. But video posted on social media is heard. Alex's voice can be heard after shooting his son, and he says, "I did him so bad." So Alex, they said that Alex was desperate because his finances were coming out because of the Mallory Beach family sued him, and he had to come out with all of his financial dealings, and he had done a lot of money laundering and just fraud. So he panicked, family got together, things went crazy, and two people ended up dead. And Maggie and Paul were victims of Alex's narcissism in his drug use and his drug abuse. Now, on the Netflix special, it says that he brought a lot of opioids. He brought at least 114 years worth of opioids. He claimed that he was addicted to them. Now, nepotism is when a family is running everything and they put their family in employment. So the Murdaugh family was handed a law firm and they were very privileged. Rumors always lingered about how the Murdaughs could make cases disappear. They did just that with every single person that lost their life dealing with the Murdaugh family. Um, in this case, a lot of people complained about how they were given certain treatment, certain privilege. As far as Paul, he was not handcuffed or anything when Mallory, when he caused that accident with Mallory. He was not handcuffed, he was not anything. Now, a journalist said that he was charged with her murder, but he never was arrested. He never was taken into court. They said it's working itself out, but he was never taken into court. Um, this is privilege. I wouldn't call it, white privilege because they just happen to be white, but it's not white privilege. It's nepotism. Nepotism can go either way. It can be any type of family. It could be Chinese, it could be black, it could be whatever. Small towns kind of have this type of pattern. I actually grew up in a small town in Virginia, Prince George, Virginia, and it was just like this. It was a lot of families running government, and it was like you couldn't do anything unless you were in the network with the family or you knew the family that ran the courts. It was all like small town stuff, and things like this do go on in small towns. A lot of people don't know that until the FBI is called. And when investigators start getting involved with the Mallory Beach and the Stephen Smith's case, a lot of the family members started hiring investigators. And when the investigators start to come in, they start calling the FBI. And with small towns like this, you have to notify the FBI when things are going on because nepotism is very, 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 very deep in small southern towns like South Carolina. So a lot of people will call this privilege. It's not. It's privilege, but it's nepotism. And anybody can have this privilege if you go to school, become a lawyer, and you get into a network, and then you build a large firm. Of course, power is going to come with that, but that power can always be taken from you. Look at the Murdaugh family; they're an example of power abused. They abuse their power, they abuse their authority, and therefore they gain the trust of everyone in the town. And people were afraid of these people because of the privilege they had. And the thing about privilege is, you know, there's somebody higher than the other person. And a lot of these people were treated as if they were beneath the Murdaugh family. They got into so many arguments. Paul berated one of his friends, saying that her father couldn't take care of the family. So it was like, I'm rich, you're not, stuff like that. And all of this came crashing down, and Alex ended up in jail because of the narcissism, the nepotism, and the well-to-do privilege that they thought they had. Because when you look at the Bible, it says that we war against principles and principalities. This is what they're talking about: people who get into these type of offices, and they get this type of power, and they lose their sense of right and wrong. And when you do so much wrong, eventually it's going to catch up with you. Sin always gains momentum, and Alex Murdaugh is no different. It doesn't matter how privileged you are. It doesn't matter what your race is, because if you get in office and you abuse citizens, you lie, you cover up stuff, you're going to be caught. And that's what happened. The Murdaugh reign came to an end.